Mudahar's military claims. Was being an engineer not enough already, Muda? Now you need to also be a war vet or something like that? You already own 15 companies. You're already the CEO of 16 different things. You're already working 25 hours a day. Do you honestly need more? Truly a visionary. Truly someone to look up to. Oh, Mutahar. The Sonic Chew medallion takes everyone.
That's the face that says I should have picked engineering in college.
What
For those
the
of you unaware
hell?
of current drama, it turns out Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers is a man who likes to tell stories about himself. Now that in itself isn't a problem. I personally love to share stories about what I've been up to. But he has this habit of talking about the same thing multiple times in ways that give very different impressions. Just as a quick example before we get into today's topic, one of the main ones people have picked up on is how he talks about his education. In a 2019 stream, he was asked about his academic background.
Education background, asking because a lot of CS knowledge. Yeah, well, I did computer engineering when I went to college. That's what I did. And then I switched my career to post-production and film editing because it was just far more interesting and lucrative, I guess, if that adds. Anyway.
By the way, that is such an incredible pivot. That is one of those pivots that goes something like this. I'm a 20-year-old girl. I want to be a psychologist. And then they understand, wait a minute, I need to read and do a lot of things. It's not actually a free pass. And suddenly, well, I guess Aboriginal tribal dancing it is. That's how that's what this sounds like.
So I'm gonna end the stream for tonight.
I would suggest that if you're asked about your educational background and you say you went to college for computer engineering, you are telling that person you got a qualification. In this case, because it was a live stream, he was telling the world that. But of course, elsewhere, you can find him saying he never got his degree.
You should totally ignore college. I don't use my degree, and I haven't used it for like 6 years.
I didn't even get my degree, dude. That's the best part.
Yeah, nah, fuck college.
I remember.
So he's just saying he finished college when it's amongst people who are reputable because they finished college. And I didn't finish college when it's people who college bad. Got it. Classic.
The best part about high school was my 12th grade English teacher said that I would amount to a failure.
He's a guy who said what seems to be the truth in some places.
I mean, is she wrong? Was she really that wrong?
If apparently inebriated enough, but is happy to paint a different picture when he's more on the ball. Oh, but technically he did go to college for it, for 1 semester. Alright, try pulling that with the people in your life and enjoy your reputation as a weird lying freak. And another area of his life he seems to have done this in, but...
By the way, fun fact, this is what people in Congresses do, people in, politics do. This is actually a real thing. This happens in my country. This happens in a lot of countries. People, just so they can get on their resume that they've studied at Harvard, if they have the money, they're just gonna buy one entry for a year into Harvard. They're gonna pay for that, and they're literally not even gonna show up for the first day. They're just gonna buy it, and when someone wants to check, oh, did this person go to Harvard University? Well, they hit up Harvard, and Harvard gives them the response. Yes. Yes. They did. They paid a tuition fee for 1 year and then they never even showed up. That's how these things work. This is a lot of this is something a lot of politicians do to make their CVs look better.
I haven't seen anyone picking up on is his past interest in the military. In 2023, Mutahar was asked about his ability to speak French, and he said this.
I can speak it. Like, if you put a gun to my fucking head. Actually, no, I know enough, like, I could get by speaking French, because there was a period of my life where I was joining the...
That sounds like a capital no, by the way. You cannot get by.
Royal Air Force here, like the Canadian Air Force here.
Oh, wait, so he didn't just join the army, he was gonna go into the Air Force because he's a special kind of person. Nice.
And if you join a government, like, military position, you have to know both languages, kind of, so...
Turns out that Mutahar, the engineer and globe-trotting film producer, was also joining the Royal Air Force.
Military was like, it was like
A man of many talents. Who am I to say? Who am I to speak for him? He clearly surpasses me.
This was like way back in the day. Like this was like before high school. And
What? He does clarify.
this never happened.
Fair enough. I'll believe him on
That is hilarious, though. So I tried to join the Canadian Royal Army Brigade of Pilots before high school. Man, truly ahead of his time.
Matt.
But like the only reason I looked at the Air Force is like I couldn't afford university and I wasn't going to go through a loan, so I was like,
Oh, when he said he was joining the...
Bro, does Mutahar's... I thought Mutahar's family has money. Wait, let me Google that. Are Mutahar's parents rich? Hassan coping about his dad being... Bro, Google, what part of Mutahar did you understand as Hassan? Some ordinary gamers. I can't. Mutahar's parents rich. Let's write it like that. Again, Hassan. Kaysen Mutahar. That's probably not even him. No idea. I have no idea. Well, that's a dead end. Well, I guess we'll never know. Someone leave in the comments if they were rich. Because as far as I can understand, it's not like Mutahar had trouble with money at any point in his life.
Royal Air Force. He meant he was fantasizing about doing that as a way to pay for a degree. Because at the time, before high school, he couldn't afford university and didn't want to take a loan. But didn't happen, never tried to do that, whatever. It was just a pre-high school fantasy. That on its own,
How will he get through the physical checkup? I mean, there's no fucking way, right? If you're a pilot, you still have to, withstand a lot of physical stuff for being a pilot in general, right? So he would have. A little chub would never get through.
I guess is whatever. But there's something a bit weird here going on. A couple years earlier, talking to Dr. K of Healthy Gamer GG, he'd told a similar story. This time though, it wasn't the Royal Canadian Air Force, but the Army. He says it was after high school, and he says he did actually apply.
After high school,
Jesus.
it was just I actually applied to the Army, but that didn't go anywhere. Eventually, I just worked. I went to university for computer sciences, and that's it.
To be clear, in this interview, he does clarify that he was a dropout.
When I thought when I got into university for a while, and I dropped out like a semester in because I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing. Because University of Toronto, like the first semester that you went in, you paid this crazy amount.
He dropped out because the university was not enough virtual Linux booting on his machine. And you need the university just did not teach that, and that's his main thing. If you did not know, Mutahar, every issue can be solved in a virtual Linux machine, and a virtual Linux and Windows machine and whatnot. He's running 3 virtual machines right now.
There's a slightly questionable thing here as well, though. He explains to Dr. K that the reason he dropped out was that school's very, very expensive, and at the same time he was getting more work on the side. So he had to choose, does he pursue that, or does he pursue school?
And, at this point, I started, getting more work on the side. I started building up a career, so I was like, wait a minute, do I choose to go through this university path, which will work for me, or to go out on the career path? That's when I realized, like, okay, I'm on that tightrope.
But at the time, his explanation was significantly different. He would frequently thank his YouTube viewers for enabling him to get off the path he was on, one he found depressing. Not because he was making the calculation he was presenting to Dr. K, but because it simply wasn't what he wanted to do.
What else did I have forward to look to in my life? Future of a menial.
By the way, it says so much about a person who lies about stuff like this. Like, why do you have to lie about the most basic garbage ever like this? Like, for example, what you even like. Why do you need to lie about that? That is so messed up and wild. Why? I don't know anyone in real life who just feels that they need to lie about the things that they like in such a general way. You're not even interacting with people in real life. This is over the internet, and you're like, oh, I need to lie for these people. Bro, what?
Menial job and whatnot, just becoming the standard 9-to-5 guy. No, at this point, you guys have made me change my entire career path. I am on my way to become what I want to be, a documentary filmmaker. All right, I'm on my way to become one of those. All right.
And he didn't simply
Bro, my favorite part about Mutahar being a filmmaker and editor and all of this garbage is that his videos are more. Listen, I don't edit my videos, but Mutahar still edits them poorer than what I do. Okay, it's not looking good.
leave education to pursue a career. He wasn't simply dropping education for work. He still needed a different education. He went to film school instead, which was his passion. I don't know, I think if I was talking to someone about this, I would have brought that up. A minor point, sure, but why did none of
Mutahar just wakes up in the morning and then he rolls the dice and, okay, this is the school I went to, this is my passion now. Oh my god, so many days, so many fake personas.
his stories ever stay the same? On that topic, Dr. K asked him what work he was doing in high school.
And so you said you were working in high school. What kind of work did you do in high school?
Just computer work early in. That's
Aw.
what I was doing. Your basic like part-time work, nothing, substantial. I was also a student at the time, and in fact, a lot of my work really ended up being just like basic community service work, just to rack on the hours.
That all sounds fine, doesn't it? But he's told that story before.
I was basically finishing up my, high school diploma and everything, and at the time, I
Bro, calling it a high school diploma, okay? There's pretentious, and then there's high school diploma pretentious, okay? No, you just finished fucking high school, that's it.
worked a little computer programming job. I worked as a pen tester, you know what I mean? Like I got into the whole thing early. I had a couple connections. It's a pretty important job, and I was good at it. I made a fair
Okay, nice. Mutahar had massive connections to become a pen tester before he was 18. 10 out of 10.
amount of money at it, and if I still did that job, shit, I'd be a lot more richer than I would be at any point in time. But bottom line is, I used to work a job like that out, and that was one of the careers that I had.
I guess now that's just become a little part-time job and he mostly did community work. Back in the day though, he was using that experience to make claims like this to hundreds of thousands of people.
Guys, I'm a computer, I'm a cybersecurity expert. I've
Bro.
worked in the
Bro, I'm a cybersecurity double expert, okay? I'm better than Mutahar.
business. I know what I'm doing, all right? And this is why I always give a disclaimer. Be careful, all right? Let the professionals handle it. I'm a professional. I got
I'm a
this.
A lot of people
professional.
aren't bothered, they don't think it's weird. He was just a baby, he was merely a freshly 21-year-old toddler. He's surely grown out
True.
of it. Me, I think it's weird as fuck. And back to the topic of this video
Based.
after that tangent. There's another thing I find weird as fuck. Apparently 5 years ago, someone recorded one of his streams and re-uploaded it. The stuff you'll see on the desktop is whatever that guy was doing. In this broadcast, he talks about his plan to go into the military, but he starts the story in a way I find very, very strange.
Let me just give you this scenario, okay? Like real quick. This is sort of my if I was in engineering.
If he was in engineering? What the hell does that mean? Oh, maybe he was saying if I wasn't in engineering, I'd go into the military. No, this is about how he was going to get his engineering degree.
One of the things that I was actually doing one day was like before college or anything, I actually thought about, going into the military and shit. And when you go into the military, I was planning on going to the military to like study engineering.
But that didn't work out, he said to Dr. K. He said he didn't want to take a loan. So instead, was he just going to pay out of pocket for an engineering degree with his side gigs? What is happening here? I'm happy to be shown I'm just misunderstanding things, and I'm lacking information. In fact,
You know what this looks like? To be completely fair against Mutahar, to a degree, I kind of see a little bit of this, because I kind of do the same thing. There are some stories I tell time to time, 2 times a year and stuff like that. And these stories do slightly change, because a lot of the MacGuffins at the start don't matter. A lot of the MacGuffins in the middle don't matter. But it's a really boring story when you just start from, okay, I went there, this happened. That's a boring story. You kind of need to, give a little bit of context more what's happening. And I'm not gonna lie, there's actually like 2 stories that I tell on the other channel also, time to time, about my experience with a fat girl and how that ended. That's a banger, by the way, if you haven't heard that story. But the reality is that the small details about that change a lot, because I don't remember actually. I barely remember how I actually even met her. And a lot of the small details change because the big details only matter. But you don't want to start the story from, the middle or the end because that's just kind of stupid. And this almost seems like that, but these are like big things. It almost seems like that kind of alive and you're telling a story, but you want it to be interesting, so you obfuscate a couple of small things here and there. Or, you just summarize it a little bit quick and, things like that. But in Mutahar's case, it's like it almost seems like he's doing these things, but for huge swaths of his life? Bro, is he reptilian or something? Is he a lizard person? Is that what we're actually dealing with here? Because this makes no sense. Like, you should be. It's like he's trying to tell an interesting story, but he's changing just the actual things that matter. It's so wild. It's so insane.
Love to hear the story because it sounds like it must be incredible. You can say he has a right to keep things private, but that's not quite right. He did, but he chose not to. He chose to blab endlessly about his life, actually, to an audience of thousands upon thousands of people. People aren't climbing in his damn walls. They're asking about public media he published. And Mutahar himself has warned against trusting people who claim expertise on the internet.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game that has so much controversy right now. Tons of grifty accounts online fell for this one fucking person lying about their, credentials as a Japanese university historian expert. Even though it took 5 seconds to Wayback Machine their account and
Yep, good tip. Thanks, Mutahar. I used it. Other tools as well are very useful for checking these things.
figure out
By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I know this video. He just claimed he knew this. This was he didn't find this out. He was just one of the people that heard this. And he's just telling this whole story as, oh, I knew this all along. People are just stupid. I'm smarter than everyone else. He also got taken for a ride, but he's now acting like he didn't. I think I remember. I could be wrong, but I think that this is that video.
oh, they were just some random white guy from, some part in Indiana, okay? Some random dude on the internet. And even if you took their Japanese, name, put it into, the Tokyo University or whatever university they claim to be, you couldn't even find that person.
Another good tip. There's a tool that works just like that for engineers in your province. You plug someone's name in to see if they're licensed.
See, people don't even want to do the bare minimum of research. Nobody wants to do even 5 minutes of research. But they'll believe anything an account says.
So fucking true. Thank you, Muta. By the way, I've seen some people say he never...
No, that is definitely that. Yeah, that whole video is just Mutahar acting like he knew that guy is lying, even though he didn't. He's just faking being smart in this video.
Claim to be working as an engineer. Personally, I get a different impression from statements like this from 2023.
As an engineer, if I show up to my office and I fuck up, okay, I don't have a job anymore.
Damn.
I'm sure the guy who calls himself an engineer every 2 seconds and tells everyone YouTube isn't his job.
Listen, remember that woman who designed the bridge and it fell and killed people like 2 days after being inspected? I'm pretty sure she still has a job, okay? Shut up, Muda.
He has a real one, was purely talking hypothetically. Let's hop back to that other clip. And he explains why, even if someone making such claims hasn't done something wrong yet, there's always a future threat if they're accepted as an authority and no one checks.
Now imagine with generative AI taking the extra steps to, bulletproof this account and make it look even more legitimate. You could actually go beyond just goofing on Assassin's Creed Shadows and turn it into serious misinformation. Imagine an actual piece of misinformation suddenly showing up on national news, international news, spreading like wildfire. And it was
international news. Ooh, that's scary.
not until the actual bomb blows that people start correcting themselves. That's a serious issue, and that's something that I think people need to watch out for going forward.
Damn straight. You gotta catch things early, check them, and get them straightened out. Because people have asked, well, what has he said that's wrong? And I have no idea.
That is actually such a good question.
That's the problem. As a layman listening to him, if he said something wrong, I would believe it's true. Well, just check it for yourself. What, just nip out, get an education real quick so I can be sure that I understand what I'm looking at? Nah.
and based and real. Anyway, that was harmful opinions. I bet Mudahar agrees that this opinion was harmful. 10 out of 10. Bye.